Welcome back to State of Affairs. I'm Steve Adubato. I've just listened to the Senate President, Steve Sweeney. So many things happening so quickly. We are not a news program, as I've said to you before. State of Affairs tries to look at the longer term, bigger picture issues. Once we get through this crisis, the coronavirus crisis. On the phone right now is a longtime friend, Kevin O'Toole, former state senator for many years in the state legislature. He is, in fact, the chairman of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, and he writes a regular column in Insider NJ. Kevin, good to talk to you. Your family doing okay?
Everybody's fine, Steve. How about you? Everybody good?
Absolutely. We have a great team that's making things happen remotely. Let me ask you this, Kevin. You wrote a column in Insider that talked about real leadership in times of crisis. It is not our place to blame, point fingers. Help us understand what, in your view, real leadership looks like on every level of government in a public health crisis.
Well, listen, leaders have to understand when a crisis like this comes upon them, they have to seize the moment. They have to make really important decisions immediately. Things change by the second. They got to surround themselves with people that they trust. They got to delegate more than they're comfortable with, and they got to be open to making changes given the new circumstances or the new events or the new facts that come before them. That's part of being a leader. You can't. This is the prime time. You can't melt away, and it's not for everybody, Steve.
It isn't for anyone. And by the way, Kevin's talked about leadership with us before. And the one part that's really interesting when it comes to government leadership, and I want former Senator O'Toole, chair of the Port Authority, to take this on. What happens when government leaders don't know the answer, Kevin O'Toole? Do you say to the people, the citizens, we don't know when it ends. We don't know what's going to happen. Is that level of candor appropriate in a situation like this?
Two things. Look, people look at the leaders, whether it's community or political or corporate, to send a message to show stability. So you have to give them frank answers. And if you don't have the answers, defer to those in the industry, the scientists, the doctors, to give the facts and figures. The other thing people do in our business, in politics, they try to outshine each other, step on each other's message. You can't do that. It's no time for partisan politics. The governors, let them say their piece. Let the mayors, the chair, the executive director of Port Authority, in a very calm manner, talk about what needs to get done, have a master plan, and get to it. And listen, you can't backbench or quarterback or nitpick now. We can always do that armchair stuff later on. This is too important. People will live or die based on what gets done today. Decisions that are made by leaders today.
If you're listening on the audio side, this is Kevin O'Toole, former state senator, former assemblyman, served for many years in the legislature, a senior member of the legislature, went on to become the chairman of the Port Authority, has his own law practice. Let me ask you this, Kevin. For local mayors, and you've been in local government, correct?
Correct. 7 years, 3 terms as a mayor.
So what happens to a mayor or for a mayor if he or she is thinking, I've got to take care of my people. I can't wait for the state. I can't wait for the feds. Can government really serve people in a public health crisis like that? Or do you have to wait for the higher level of government to step in?
Well, like in Essex County now, you have Joe DiVincenzo, the county executives, having daily phone calls with the mayor, with the sheriff, Armando Fontoura. That's the way it's got to get done. Individual mayors can't get ahead of themselves, have either strict or more lax boundaries or restrictions. They got to comport with what the county says and what the governor says. There's some individuals who are trying to be more restrictive than the governors. The governor's executive orders are the law, and you can't have something that's more restrictive than that's local. It's not going to be enforceable.
One more quick question here, because you understand the legislature better than most, because you understand United States Congress, which is the legislature, if you will, in the federal government. What is the appropriate role in your mind for a legislative body when executive decisions are the ones that need to be made? And frankly, it's hard. It seems hard to make decisions in a legislative body, be it on the federal, state, or local level.
Well, it seems to me, though, at the federal level that McConnell and Schumer are coming together with Speaker Pelosi and President Trump. They get along on nothing. It seems to me with this third coronavirus package, they all seem to be speaking with the same voice, that this is an emergency package, on par with 2008, that they're working together and hopefully get some quick action. There's no time for political rancor. Republicans, Democrats, Independents are all pulling together, Steve. This is a very brief period in our time. You'll see, hopefully, all of us stand together as Americans and pull ourselves out of this crisis.
One more quickie, Senator. Kevin O'Toole, do you feel like once we get through this, and we will, God willing, prayers, hard work, people doing the right thing, social distancing, to what degree do you believe we change as a nation in terms of being one, even if we can't agree on everything.
Listen, we are changed. I got a 22-year-old and a 20-year-old. You got that generation who've never faced this crisis. It's not the Great Depression babies, the baby boomers who have gone through some of this, the 9/11 folks who've experienced tragedy at the highest level. So you're seeing an entire generation, entire group being exposed to a crisis of epic proportion. And it makes us all a little smarter, wiser, and hopefully we can prepare ourselves as a society for the next eventual crisis that comes before us, and we will be better prepared.
That is, I want to thank the chairperson, the chair of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, an incredibly important organization, particularly at a time like this, former state senator who is an attorney in private practice, Kevin O'Toole. Kevin, thank you to you and your family. Be safe, be well.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. You too.
Got it. This is Steve Adubato. This is State of Affairs. We may be remote, but we're doing everything we can, like everyone else in the media, to try to bring important information to you, but also take a longer-term look at the situation. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by Gibbons PC, NJIT, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, PSE&G, Operating Engineers, Local 825, the New Jersey Education Association, NJM Insurance Group, and by these public-spirited organizations, individuals, and associations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State, and by Employers Association of New Jersey. Promotional support provided by ROINJ and by Insider NJ.